No, maybe you already answered this question because I think it sounds like you discovered the Hamilton wood type museum yourself when you were looking for ice cream sundaes in Two Rivers on your way back from Door County. There are several, I'm calling them characters, and I shouldn't call them characters. They're real people, some young artists from Columbia College who appear to have been influenced by their exposure to letterpress. And that is I think, the more optimistic message of the film that, okay, maybe as a commercial business, it's no longer viable, but to artists, it's very appealing. Sort of the handmade aspect of the letters and the fact that it's raised,
It's tactile. You can
it's
feel it.
very tactile. There are imperfections. And in fact, the artists really want more imperfections to show that it was not, done on a Mac with Photoshop or whatever font program someone might use to make something look authentic.
Right, which is the ironic part, 'cause the old practitioners would have, be rolling in their graves if they
Right.
knew, because it.
Well, you show one gentleman who's saying this is wrong. I haven't carved the serifs on this letter.
Exactly.
Like,
There's a real tension there between the old and the new, and why people value it, which is really interesting. Yeah, the young people. It was very serendipitous. This group of kids, while we were there shooting, just kind of stumbled in from Chicago, and watching their enthusiasm was encouraging to us as well. To continue the story, and we've caught up with them a couple of years later, and they had.
They were still into it.
They were still into it, and it had expanded. They had gotten a studio and a press.
They had they bought their own letterpress,
which was really exciting.
And restored it,
and then we also, filmed with them at work. What does a working designer do today? And
I thought that was very interesting.
Thank you.
They were in a session with someone about how they were supposed to design something, what they were looking for. It sounded like they were looking for everything. Right. I want it to be, right. fresh, edgy, but not too edgy, and spontaneous, right. and what no one's ever seen before. And then you're just like, what?
Right. And when we started the project, I had started it with a couple friends, and I didn't initially know if it would be a Cartemquin film. I thought it might just kind of be kind of documenting what was there. And then,
now, what does that mean? You didn't know if it was going to be a Cartemquin film.
Well, I was working.
Sure
I was working at Cartemquin, and yet, many producers approach Cartemquin, and they don't always necessarily take a project on. And I didn't know the scope of the project, and I didn't know, there's a certain quality and certain characteristics, I guess, that make up a Cartemquin film, and I didn't know what we had yet. And the more time we spent there and got to know all of the amazing people in Two Rivers and the people in the letterpress community, and I thought there's this larger story there. And we went to Cartemquin. I went to my mentor there, the founder, Gordon Quinn. And
now he is in case not everyone in the world knows this, didn't he do Hoop Dreams?
Yes. So Hoop Dreams is Cartemquin's most famous film. Gordon Quinn founded the company in 1966. And
no, I thought it was a cooperative back in 66.
Well, there was 3 University of Chicago students that started it. Okay. And then it became a collective a little bit later in the early 70s, I believe.
But it's no longer functioning under that model, right?
It's had many identities over the years. Right now, we're a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. But anyway, Gordon Quinn took the film on and became its executive producer, and helped make it the film it is today.
So he thought it was socially relevant enough to produce. I mean, that's one of their key issues.
Exactly. So all of our films are social issue documentaries, and really trying to look at today's social issues through human faces. And Cartemquin had done films about art and culture in the past, and also about labor.
For instance,
Golub. I don't know if you've seen Golub, and its successor, Golub Works Are the Catastrophes, about the artist Leon Golub.
No,
it's a beautiful film.
Check it out. I've heard of it.
And then one of the exciting things about the Siskel showing is we're showing a vintage Cartemquin short called Viva la Causa, which was made in the 70s, and it's about Chicago mural culture.
Awesome.
beforehand.
I find that very, very an interesting topic because they're actually uncovering more and more murals and, well, I don't know if they're restoring all of them, but they're trying their best to restore as many as they're.
It's very exciting. So we're going to show Viva La Causa and Typeface, and then we also have another film opening that week, Steve James' new film called No Crossover, which is a film looking at Allen Iverson, the basketball player, and a racial fight that happened in his hometown, which is also Steve James's hometown. And it was commissioned by ESPN for their 30/30 series, and we're having a sneak preview in Chicago on the 31st.
Fantastic. Well, Justine, just to sort of get back to your film, Typeface, tell us again when that's going to be screening and, how you feel about after 4 years of shooting your documentary.
It's been so exciting to watch it connect with audiences around the world. We've shown it in 25 cities now in 4 countries, and it's finally coming to Chicago, which is great.
You should have been here first.
I know, you would think.
Okay, I'll have to ask you about that later. Why that didn't work out.
So you can see it at the Gene Siskel Film Center Friday, January 29th. Get your tickets now. There'll be a reception at 7, the film at 8, and then it's showing throughout the week through February 4th. And then it's also showing in London, Boise, Idaho, Charlotte, and Winona, Minnesota in the next month.
London, England, and Boise,
exactly.
Idaho. Interesting.
It's a non-traditional rollout.
I'll say you've got a very interesting marketing approach for your documentary. Anyway,
it's very organic. I'll tell you that.
Justine Nagan, thank you very much for being on Live from the Heartland. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed your film, Typeface, which will be screening, as we've already mentioned, at the Gene Siskel Film Center. We'll be right back with our next guest, Ed Stellan of the Heartland Alliance, after a brief musical break. Stay tuned.